Okay, hello everyone. We are going to start with this class. Today we will be talking about marketing plan. This is the first part. Now, first of all, we have to, before beginning this section or this unit, we have to start taking into consideration the definition of marketing. Now, there are a lot of definitions, right? We can get formal definitions, we can get informal definitions. The thing is that, look, a formal definition, a definition that you might find on a dictionary, can tell you something specific. So let's start with the notes, right? We're going here and let's make the basic definition, right? Marketing. Now, as I was telling you, a simple definition is going to, and if you go to a dictionary, the definition is going to be focused on something like advertising. For example, the art of advertising in order to sell a product. Now, this can we can say that it is the popular definition. And this is not precisely the definition that really comprises every single thing related to marketing. We are going to take into consideration other things, right? Not only that, we are going to take into consideration different situations. Not only that, so first, this is like the popular definition. Everybody, when they hear the term marketing, they are focused on advertising. In other words, people are normally focused on publicity. Now, I am not excluding publicity. I am not saying that publicity is not marketing. The thing is that people normally use as a synonym of marketing the term publicity. Now, this is definitely not something correct, not something adequate. Look, publicity is like one of the last stages of marketing. This is what people sometimes misunderstand. The thing is that, remember, the final, I agree with this part, right? In order to sell a product, I agree with this part. We can say that this part is adequate, or this is the function, the real function of the final objective of marketing. However, we don't have to be thinking only or exclusively on publicity. The final objective is to sell a product or a service, right? In this case, it's not only a product, right? But people think that everything is normally focused on publicity or advertising. Again, I'm not saying that this is not correct. I'm just saying that this is not the only thing that it is related to marketing. Now, we are going to make a definition that encompasses the general perspective of marketing. First of all, let's look at this word, attractiveness. This is a very important word. Attractiveness is like a degree or a level that indicates how much someone or something prefers or is interested on something. Now, in this case, if we are talking about attractiveness, attractiveness is focused on the client's or customers' preference. That is the situation here. This is how we are going to be talking about attractiveness. Now, we can make a general definition of marketing. And now, again, The previous one, this one, is not the one that I really want you to have or to know. The definition that I want you to get is something more global. So we can say that marketing, this is a definition that I am going to formulate. It's, again, you can find a lot of definitions, a lot of perceptions, a lot of perspectives. None of them is necessarily the correct one, but we have to get the essence of the focus of marketing. This is what we want to do when we talk about, in this case, marketing, right? This is what we want to do. So we are going to establish a definition that helps us for the purposes of a general perspective of marketing. Remember, marketing is not only publicity. Publicity is like the tail of marketing. It's like almost the last part, because the last part is the consequence or the effect of marketing is to sell a product or a service. So marketing, in general terms, we can say that it is to make people aware about a product or service that I am offering by making this product or service attractive. And that can be a definition. I'm going to try to repeat it, maybe not with exact words. Marketing is the art or the action of making people have awareness, making people aware of the existence of my product or my service, and making it, or by means of making this product or service attractive for his or her purposes, right? This is like a more global perspective of marketing. Implicitly, this one has the part of publicity of advertising. So again, it is somehow inside, it is within. I like this word in English, right? It is within the concept that we have just mentioned. So please, that's the situation. Remember, we can say that, let's do it like this. I like this analogy. Look, this is an interesting analogy. We can say that our product or service, look at the analogy. Our product or service is, it's like this. Our client or customer is like a ferrous metal, for example, iron. Our customer or client is like iron. What we want to do is to convert, according to the perception of the client, our product into a huge magnet. And that magnet obviously is going to attract this iron. So remember, our analogy is the client is iron or any ferrous metal, but we can say that the most common one is iron. Our client or customer is iron, and your marketing objective is to transform your product or service into a huge magnet with a lot of magnetism. So we can say like this. Look, in summary or in a nutshell, the customer or the potential customer is iron, our product or service is a magnet, and marketing is the intensity of the magnetism of this magnet. That's a good analogy. 3 components. The client is iron, the product or service is a magnet, and marketing is the degree or level or intensity of magnetism, the capacity of attracting those clients. This is what we want to do. So that's basically marketing. So let's go back to the presentation. So marketing plan, let's start. This is the first part. We have another definition here. This is the perspective of the book. Remember that we are learning from all, in this case, perspectives, right? So this is the perspective of the book. Marketing is a societal process which discerns consumers' wants, focusing on a product or service to fulfill those wants. attempting to move the consumers toward the products or services offered. Exactly, the magnetism that we were speaking about. So we have another interesting concept here, consumers' wants. Now, in this case, remember that here we are having our notes here during the video. So, there we go. Let's go back to the class. Now, I want to have this concept clear. Consumers' wants. Let's go back to our notes. Wants. So, what is a want? Okay, so wants are basically desires. Something that a person wishes. Something like that, right? Now, the contrast is the following. The thing is that if we have something that we desire or something that we wish, we also have the things that are essential for us. Those essential things are the needs. So we have two perspectives, wants and needs. Those are the two perspectives. Okay, so wants and needs. So we have wants are desires, right? And now we have needs. What are needs? Needs are basically anything essential for humans. Now, it's easy to identify them, right? I'm not going to extend so much in this part, but it's easy to understand it, right? For example, a need can be water, right? We need water to survive as humans. This is something that everybody knows. Another thing that we actually need is, well, not food, right? Because we can have food that it's not essential for our bodies. For example, French fries are not essential for our body. Technically, they are not completely something good for our health. In this case, French fries. So we can say that the thing that is essential for us is nourishment, right? Nourishment. This is essential for us, nourishment. However, nourishment includes apples, vegetables in general, fruits, water itself. Water is part of the nourishment. Only those things that are actually nutritious for you, right? Only the things that are nutritious for you, the things that are beneficial for your body. So that's the situation here. Why are we speaking about wants and needs? Because the greatest objective of all the marketing campaigns, actions, plans, objectives is to make people, more specifically, to make potential customers feel that a want is actually a need. This is like the final idea, to make people believe, to make people think that wants are needs. For example, when people really require something. Just as an example, we can mention video games in teenagers. If it is a video game that is so impacting and a video game that has all the characteristics that the child is wishing for, it is going to make his or her, especially his, if it is something like soccer, is going to make the little child's mind have that feeling of needing, really needing that video game. And this is going to make them ask for their parents or their tutors, please get me one of those. Please, I need this soccer video game. I need this combat video game. I need this exploration video game. Any type of video game, right? And this person, this little child, is going to be persistent, persistent, persistent. And the most likely thing to happen is for the parents or the father or the mother to be a little bit forced to get the video game, which is actually the purpose of marketing, right? That is the intensity of the magnet that we were speaking a little while ago. So that's the idea, to make people believe that a want is a need. Let's go back to the presentation. So the marketing teams are tasked to create consumer awareness. This is what we were saying in the global definition. So the marketing teams are tasked to create consumer awareness of the products or services through marketing techniques. This is what we want to learn in part here, right? Those marketing techniques. Marketing tends to be seen as a creative industry. I agree in this part. Remember that part of making something attractive is how much creativity you are actually putting into something, right? This is part of marketing. So the idea is that we are implementing creativity in a specific product or service to make it innovative. Innovation is one of the products of marketing. Distinction, differentiation. Let's write those down here in the notes. Creativity, innovation, differentiation. Those are important words. Now, creativity, innovation, to make something distinctive. Differentiation is like the huge category, right? The more different a product is, the more distinctive will become in people's minds. For example, if people in people's minds, when you see something in the supermarket that it's a little bit different, it has an extra ingredient, an extra feature, an extra component, you say, well, it would be cool to try this, right? Those are the things that increase the level of magnetism. So it is also concerned with anticipating the customer's future needs and wants. There we go. Anticipating the customer's needs and wants, which are often discovered through market research. This is precisely inside the market research, we have this marketing plan. We make the marketing plan is like a consequence, a product of making that market research. So let's continue with the presentation. Basically, marketing is the process of creating or directing an organization to be successful in selling a product or service that people not only desire but are willing to buy, what we were saying. So a synonym of feeling that we want something is the fact that we have this willingness to buy. Willingness to buy. Willingness is that you have the entire desire, the entire objective, the entire like you feel completely secure of making that purchase. This is the willingness. In other words, the certainty of buying something, of paying that money without feeling remorse, without feeling guilty, without feeling I could have used this money for something else. If you eliminate or at least control that perspective of the mind, you are being a good marketer, as the previous slide mentioned. So a marketing plan is a written document that details the necessary actions. This is what we are going to look here to achieve one or more marketing objectives. This is our construct. This is the essence of our class. We want this precisely, right? To make a document that integrates all the necessary elements, all the necessary components to achieve one marketing objective. As you know, the global marketing objective is to sell a product or service. So it says, from the perspective of the time frame, it can cover 1 year or cover up to 5 years. So it's short or medium term normally, right? Not long term. Why? Remember that it can be for long term, but it's not so successful because the longer time, the less updated it is. The idea is to make something that is updated, something that will have the tendencies of the markets. That's why. While a marketing plan contains a list of actions, a marketing plan without a sound strategic foundation is of little use. This is something extremely important. Extremely important. Okay? That means that there are two parts. Let's go back to the notes. There are two parts: operational marketing and strategic marketing. Here, in the operational, we are going to find publicity. It's the execution of activities. When you get an advertisement and you are going to publish it, you're going to paste it, you're going to deliver it to a potential customer. This is the operational part. That means the execution. But it is more important to have a solid strategic plan. The strategic plan includes the following steps. It is having the big perspective of marketing. This is what we want. So let's go back. So look, in most organizations, strategic planning is an annual process, typically covering just the year ahead. There are many approaches to marketing plans. Marketing teacher has focused upon the key stages of the plan. So let's stop here for a little while. The marketing teacher, the one who teaches, the one who nurtures, the one who guides this marketing perspective, has focused upon the key stages of the plan. That means that a good marketing teacher is going to tell you this part, this stage, this component, this factor are the most essential ones on marketing. This is the marketing teacher. Focus on the key stages of the plan. So this is a very important concept. It is contained under the popular acronym AOSTC, Analysis, Objectives, Strategies, Tactics, and Controls. We are going to be focused on this, right? A detailed description of the previous characteristics is going to be explained in the following paragraphs. So let's pay attention to this, right? To the AOSTC. In other words, Analysis, Objectives, Strategies, Tactics, and Controls. We are going to get an overview of this in the following slides, right? Let's continue. Okay, so now the next step is we have the development. This is the development of the marketing plan. We are going to be explaining this part here. Now let's start with this part. It says stage 1 situation analysis. So basically we're going to focus on this. We are going to analyze the circumstances. Now, as you can recall, when we talk about the strategic planning, there is a specific analysis of all the situations regarding an enterprise. In this case, we are going to be focused specifically on marketing. So let's start here. It says marketing environment. This is how the surroundings affect marketing. We are not talking about ecology, trees. We are not talking about valleys. We are not talking about landscapes. In this case, we are referring to situations that can affect our marketing purposes. For example, something specific that can affect our our company and our marketing objectives is the competitors, right? The competitors are part of our environment. They affect us directly or indirectly. They affect us in different circumstances. Another thing that can affect us is, for example, the location of possible customers. Something that can also affect us is the market share. We will talk about that later. Something that can affect us is also something that can affect us is also the circumstances related to the publicity, the quality of the publicity, and marketing projections, the design of the product. There are a lot of things that will affect the effective marketing, right? So this is like the focus that we have in this case. So what we are looking for here is again specifically what can actually affect us. We will talking about the competitors. We can also have the suppliers. The suppliers can have some limitations in the way in which we require them something specific. Substitute products also can be an issue. For example, if I am selling, I don't know, printers, a substitute product can be a tablet, because a tablet has that opportunity of avoiding the necessity of printing a specific document. We can actually use the tablet for our purposes. So again, substitute products, and among, in this case, different things, the buyers, the attitude of people, the attitude of possible customers, right? We have laws and regulations. I think this is self-explanatory. A restriction from the government can affect us, for example, in the prices of our raw materials. Politics, a change in the government, right? As you know, governments change every 4 years in most of the nations. Obviously, it really depends on the nation. Also, the current state of technology. If we have limitations on the technology purpose, this can also limit us, especially when we are talking about something that changes with technology. For example, if we are selling computers, if we're selling everything related to appliances, electronic devices, all those things can be affected, right? So we have to take into consideration the fact that technology is going to directly influence in our marketing, because we might have the best marketing campaign, but if we don't have the technological features, the technological updates, probably our products cannot be so competitive. In those cases, it's better to look for another strategy. Again, and listen up. When we don't have access to enough technology, we are not going to be focusing our marketing plan on technology. We are going to point out, we are going to make remarkable our strengths, our positive aspects. We have to, in this case, make them distinctive. Our positive aspects are the ones that we are going to emphasize more in our marketing campaign. If we don't have enough technology or the most updated technology, this is a logic that we have to keep. Then we have economic conditions. Depending on the type of thing that you're selling, maybe the population is not doesn't have the right circumstances for buying something specific. The social cultural aspects, maybe in some cultures a specific product or service is not so accepted. For example, selling beef, right? Selling beef in a country in which beef is banned, or beef is something sacred, or beef has a special meaning, that making beef as something commercial can be something that people are going to reject. Then we have demand trends, media availability, stakeholder interests. I am very interested in this word here. We will go to the notes. Just give me a second. Okay, so let's go to the notes. We were mentioning stakeholder. Stakeholder is someone who is related to the company. It's not the owner. It's not necessarily related to people who have shares, because stakeholders is not necessarily equal to shareholder. Okay, so that's the situation. It's not necessarily related to that. So stakeholder can be any group of interest related to the company: providers, employees, customers, the government, the competitor, everything and everyone and every single institution that has a direct or indirect relationship with our company. That's a stakeholder. So let's go back to the presentation. So also those interests are going to have an effect, right? Obviously, that is going to have an effect. The marketing plans and campaigns of competitors, we were mentioning this before, so I'm going to stop here. So there we go, that's stage 1. Let's continue. In stage 2, we have the marketing objectives. In this case, we are not going to make it so specific, because this is something that we already know from strategic planning. This is something that comes in other areas of administration. But in this case, how do marketing objectives have to be directed? They have to be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time. This is an acronym that can help. Specific, precise, right? I'm not going to emphasize so much here, because this is part of another topic. This is not so specific here in marketing. Something that you can measure, precise, you can measure it. If you cannot measure it, it's very subjective to reach the objectives, okay? Are you attempting too much? Do you have the resource to make the objectives happen? Remember, M. Remember, we have man, money, machines, materials, and minutes. 5 M's, okay? It's like something that we have to keep in mind. We are going to have like people available, economical resources, technological resources, materials in general, and time. Remember, M. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 M's. This is important. To know if it is realistic, we're going to have like these different aspects. And time, we need a deadline, right? So let's go back to the notes. In the notes, we have to add deadline, expiration date, or limit date to perform a specific action. Remember that. That's deadline. Sorry, a specific action. And remember, we have to evaluate the M's, right? We were mentioning men, money, machines, materials, and minutes. The 5 M's of the objectives. So be careful with that, okay? Remember the 5 M's, really important. So let's go back. So they have to be smart. Let's continue. Describe your target market. This is the stage number 3. Remember, we have the marketing objectives. We have now the target market. Now, for this purpose, we are going to select a specific type of product or service in order to exemplify or to show this importance of this part of the topic. Okay, now this example, we are going to develop it in the next class. We are going to select one product or service and develop this in the next class. So for now, this has been our class for today. This is the first part of marketing. So we'll continue talking about the topic.